Greetings listeners, welcome to the Whip 12 podcast. My name is Raymon and today we're going to talk about focus in gaming. So, do you ever have that situation where you're in a game of Infinity, you have to make a choice between either a shooting or a dodging action or maybe some hacking stuff that you want to do, or maybe you have just a small amount of orders and should you kill something or jump on the objective and maybe risk losing a specialist. And then afterwards you're like, oh no, I should have done X, Y, Z. That's what we're going to talk about keeping your focus and why these kind of stuff happen where you're smarter after the game when you go over it and you check your moves. And maybe after years and years of players, you check your moves and like, I'm just making the same mistake all over again. Why is that? Why do I don't learn from my mistakes or fall in some traps? Well, that's what I want to talk about. And my examples will not be just Infinity. I also will be talking about A Song of Ice and Fire and Moonstone, because those are the three systems that I play right now. Because it's easier to give a bit of the point across that I'm trying to make. Because you can probably, keeping focus also probably counts for your other games. If you're playing Warhammer or Bolt Action or Conquest or Warcrow, any of the other games, you're getting into a situation where your brain has to focus and you have to make choices to try and win a game. But first off, you probably have noticed that it has been a month, since the last episode, because we are a busy lot, the whole team. Capri, our latest edition, has done a lot in a short period. But he's moving back to the States, so that means he has less time to record episodes. And yeah, my time also has been a bit meager since I got my little girl. She's 4 months old now. She's great, she's doing fine, but that means it's more of a hassle to do the regular interviews with people, find the right scheduling to just sit down and talk about Infinity for 2 hours or 3 in the case of Ariadna, because I always like to talk about Ariadna. And so that means we can probably use some reinforcements, either by people who just want to talk about their faction and that we can deep dive, because our list is still long, even while Corvus Belli has shortened it and now every faction has only 3 sectorials. That means we still have to do a lot. So yeah, if you want to come on the show, just email us at whip12podcast@gmail.com or hook us up on the Discord, on the IGL Discord, the Infinity Global League, which one is started right now, by the way. So if you want to jump on, there's maybe you have a chance if you're racked soon enough. And that means we could use a little bit of reinforcement. Also, maybe people who are deep into Warcrow, because we do want to cover it. It's a really nice game. I'm not playing it as of yet, but I think it's only a matter of time, because I saw the cavalry units that Corvus Belli brought out. Those orcs on wargs are, that terrifying stuff. But also the hegemony knights on the horses were pretty great. So that means there's more unit diversity coming towards the game. So maybe it will also make the game more interesting, or at least pretty to look at. So if you want to come along, whip12podcast@gmail.com or hook us up on the IGL Discord. So to jump into keeping focus in gaming, I'm pondering over this idea for a while now, because of my work. I work in social housing in the Netherlands. I don't know how it's in America or any other place in the world. So maybe this is a little bit of explaining. I'm not on the if you're as a landlord, if something is broke, I will fix it. I'm in the Netherlands. It's more of a social thing where community building is also a bit of a part of it. If things like conflicts between neighbors happen, or people who need care, need some help getting the right care, either mentally or physically, or their house needs to be adjusted for that, or people are fraudulent with their housing. I come in, so my work is assess the situation, see what's needed, and get the proper institutions, like either police or care or what have you, needed to get through the day and fix all these problems that get into, or the families who live in these houses get into. So that's also a lot of conflicts that I have to adjust to. Either people are angry and they get aggressive towards me, or they get aggressive towards their neighbors. So I need to de-escalate situations. So I've learned some tips and tricks during my profession, which can be of good use of keeping focus in your games. Also, this has come to mind because, yeah, like I said, my little girl is 4 months old, and during that time, I have managed to at least go to an Infinity tournament as a player, but also organized my own tournaments yet again after a little hiatus. And I also been to a Moonstone tournament, and the first tournament that I went to was, yeah, she was only a month born. I went to a Song of Ice and Fire tournament, which was an experience because anyone who has a newborn or knows from newborns is that they need to be fed every 3 hours, wake up every 3 hours. So you're not getting a lot of sleep. And my little one had her biggest, wildest cries when she was around 11 hours to 2 hours in the morning. So that meant that I would go to bed every night around 3 o'clock. So in the night. So if you have to be fresh up for a tournament at 10 o'clock starting time, yeah, that is a bit of a punch in the face. But I wanted to go to that tournament. And my wife was lovely that she would hold the fort while I was gone. So sleep deprived, I went there with an army, the Lannisters. I hadn't played them for a while, so probably the smarter move was to go with the Targaryen army that I have, which I've played in the league. So I had like 20 games under my belt with Targaryen. But I decided to go with Lannisters because there's this little thing called a Song of Ice and Fire stats. It's like what Infinity has, the OTM system, but it's made by fans, and yeah, it keeps your ELO score just like OTM, but also it notes down which armies you played with which commanders you have played, and if you played all the commanders of your army, you get a badge of the. So let's say I've played with Tyrion and Jaime Lannister and Tywin Lannister and all the commanders that the Lannister army has, then I get a badge behind my name, a Lannister sigil, and if I win with them all, it stops being black and white and you get the full colored sigil behind your name. And yeah, this is a cool thing that I wanted to do. So I had like 2 Lannister commanders that I didn't play with, and that were the High Sparrow and Tyrion Lannister that I didn't win with. So I decided to bring them to the tournament. So I went in with commanders I never won with, sleep deprived, an army I hadn't played in years. Let's go play a 3-round daily tournament. And as you all know, with Infinity, you're probably wrecked after 3, even with armies you've practiced with. So I decided I was just happy to go. I just after becoming a dad that I could still do my hobby and play with my military Barbies. So I won my first game, which was pretty happy. So that was at least one for the badge. Then I won with Tyrion as well in my second game, and then I ended up on the finals table. And my opponent was pretty nervous because he realized that he was on the finals table. So he was very focused, and he saw the chance of winning a tournament finally and putting it on its name, because that also you get a little price note on the Song of Ice and Fire starts that you have won a tournament. And I was just happy to be there. My goals already for the day were already met. I was at the tournament. I was playing games. I won with the 2 commanders that I needed to win with to get my badge. So yeah, me being in the finals, I'm just happy to roll some dice, man. I'm just there. And at first, I was just chatting with him because I was pretty relaxed. I was just happy to be there. And I sent a unit forward. He shot it to bits. So I was like, oh, well, here we go. You have like 4 units on the table. So losing 1 unit in like the first rounds of the game is a pretty big thing. You're on the back foot. Mostly it's a death sentence in Song of Ice and Fire to lose a unit that early because you have alternate activation. So I was down in activation, so that meant he could get the ball rolling. So I decided, well, I could give up and not play a game anymore, or just go balls through the walls and just see what I can manage to do. So I just sent my units forward, my cavalry, my other units that I had left, and just pincer movement him and just started a big old fight and just roll dice and have fun. But that meant that A Song of Ice and Fire is also an objectives game. And by being this bold and sending this unit, the first unit forward that got shot to bits, he spent a lot of effort to shoot it. And that meant he didn't move that much from his position. So, and then my cavalry rushed in, my other units rushed in. And he's now locked in to his own deployment zone. He will probably fight himself out of it, because I am at a loss. I'm a 1 unit short. But I'm also scoring every round objective points, to a point that I got to a point where I just needed to survive because I had enough points, because he could never retain on me unless he would kill my whole army, and then he would win by default. But he didn't manage that after the 6th round. So I won a tournament, sleep deprived, with an army I didn't train with commanders I didn't never won with. I was over the moon. And probably I have went to tournaments, infinity tournaments, where I practiced week after week after week, and go to satellites, and maybe my best satellite performance was 5th place, which is still awesome on a 50-day thing, but it meant that you're probably not winning from the top 10 at that point. So yeah, the ones that I try, I haven't come home gold, and now I'm just standing there with the tournament win. And I don't know. I'm all. This is. I want to talk about focus, but this can also be dad powers. Like, I've went to the Moonstone tournament, didn't lose a game there. Worst thing that I did was a draw. The Infinity tournament that I went to, that was organized by the Dice Gods, by Simon. You have to check out his YouTube channel, by the way. He's now another Dutch workhorse, which I'm pretty happy with, because that means there are more events in the Netherlands. So that's a win. So I could finally go somewhere, and I asked him, do you need any tables? And he said no. So it was, yeah, great. I can go to an Infinity tournament and not have like 4 boxes of terrain with me and a few rolls of stuff that I need to take, but just 1 bag. Show up, play a few games. Won all my games, got in 2nd, because there was another guy that also won his games, but I had less objective points. So I'm on a roll while being sleep deprived and all that jazz. And it's funny to me, because I was working on this script, on this idea for a while, on keeping focus on games. And the first tips that I wanted to give to keeping focus is sleep well, drink during the and I mean water, like hydrate, not just alcohol, during your games, to make sure that your brain has the right amount of foodstuffs and water, so that you can not deprive your body while making choices with your mind. And then all of a sudden I'm just going as a wreck and getting these results. Uh, so it was pretty funny to me, so I don't know which advice should give you. Like, do you want to win your tournaments? Go ahead, make a baby with your significant other, and go sleep deprived, and you will win it, guaranteed, 100%. It's I've tested 3 times now. I'm very successful at anywhere I go. We probably need to call that anecdotal evidence. I think it's not only important to be at least well rested, fully hydrated, well fed, to have a focused brain, but also come in with the right mentality to at least go with the punches. Like if you go to a satellite with 50 people, the number 1 place will get you towards the interplanetario. It's very important. You probably get a big prize, like a big starter set or anything. So there's some stuff on the line. But also, if you do not win this tournament, it's not something you have to put on your resume, or when you come home from the tournament that your significant other would stand in the doorway. Did you win? Or else you will sleep on the couch. So it's probably not that important. And maybe the well-rested part is also not that important, since if you go to a multiple day event, you probably come over from a long drive or a long trip by plane. The first day is not a tournament day, but you at least see some friends and socialize. So maybe you have a nice night before the game day even starts, and that's fully allowed. Don't hamper yourself like I need to do well on this tournament. So like Raymon said, I will go to bed early and don't drink. And well, if that takes away from your enjoyment from the whole thing, then please do not follow my advice. The first thing you should do is have fun. It's a hobby. It's something you do in your spare time. Please take it at that value. And sure, me telling you that through this podcast and you listening to this podcast, being rational, civilized people, talking about that is just a game and why bother that much? Yeah, that's easier said than done than while you are in the game, in the heat of the moment, making your choices, feeling the emotions. And well, then maybe it's not that easy to consider that it's just a game. Maybe when someone says it, you will feel it as an insult even. If you're heated up by that upteened failed dice roll and getting crit after crit faced, see your battle plans go to sunder. Well, that all has to do with the brain and how it functions, and functions under stress, and what the act of playing does to a brain. Play is so essential to the brain, and science has concluded that wholeheartedly. And I still come from a time where, when I was a kid, people told me like, play is for kids, but not for grown-ups. And man, were they wrong, because play has so many functions. It's a way to relax. It's a way to socialize. It's a way to practice, to learn as an education tool. Say you are a lion cub and you want to learn how to take out a zebra. Well, it's more safely to just fuss around, play around, try it out on your fellow lion cubs or on your parents, to see if your bite holds and goes into the right direction before you throw in your lot and try to follow the zebras and then try to bite the zebra. And the magic of it all is that you don't even need to be a participant. Say you're looking at your favorite ball sport. I'm just going in a general direction. Either it's soccer or football, rugby, what have you. It's a ball with a net and you have to bring it to the net and score a point. Maybe 1, maybe 5, maybe 7, I don't know. While you are an onlooker, if you even care for this, by the way, but you can get it. You get the gist. If you are an onlooker, that you even feel the emotions when you're just looking, seeing your favorite athlete trying its very best to get the ball into said net or through the post or what have you, and feel the excitement, feel the ecstasy of the achievement, like you've done it yourself. That's the great magic of the brain. It's preparing you for what it can be in reality. And it's just weird how that works. You're not really doing the thing, but somehow your brain thinks that you're actually doing the thing and you're learning to do the thing. That's because even while you're playing, even while you're pretending, for your brain, it's the real deal. It makes the same hormones, it does the same neuron shots like if you're doing the real thing. And that's what makes it amazing. That's why you feel those emotions truly. Because for your brain, there's no difference. And the positive side is then when we play our pretend warfare is that we can still feel the emotions and the excitement of going around corners, firing the guns, and enjoying what happens when we roll the dice and feel those emotions that come from it. It also gives us the stress of making those choices and being in the excitement of the moment and making the right picks and doing the right actions. And for anyone who has ever went to a tournament, either 3-round or 5-round, by the end of it, you're pretty exhausted. And that's because you're constantly trying to break this puzzle of either going through your opponent's defenses or doing the right offense or have enough orders to reach those objectives and enough dice rolls to mitigate any fails that you have. You're constantly busy because physically there's not much going on. You're just standing at that table and maybe shoving a few models around. But by the end of it, you're pretty wrecked and banged up. And that's because every choice, every decision wears upon you, and the emotions wear upon you, because your brain is just like a muscle, and muscles get exhausted. There's this quote about Obama that when he was president, that his suits were always laying down before him every morning, and he just goes and wears them, because just standing in the morning every day to see which suit he will wear with which tie, it's a choice. It's an easy choice, probably, but it's still a choice. And yeah, you have enough choices to make as a president during the day. So maybe you want to keep that energy in your brain for when you have to talk about striking Iran or not, instead of do I wear a tan suit or maybe a blue suit. And it's not just that the stress and the choices are tiring out your brain and that you just run out of energy, but also the type of choices you are able to make diminishes. And that's where you get this nagging feeling from when after a game you're like, why did I make that decision? Well, I should have done X, Y, Z. And that's because when it comes down to stress and making choices, the brain is set up in 3 levels. Roughly, I'm not a doctor, but our brain is older than us humans. The brain has evolved through our ancestral species. So you get a brain that has 3 compartments. Either you start off with the little brain, the lizard brain, as you would say, because that's when farther back that type of brain evolved, and it's the instinctual side of our brain. It's the fight or flight reaction that comes when coming down to hard decision making. Then after that you get the mammal side of the brain, so the middle side, and that's where we get our emotions, and that's where we make our emotional choices. And then we go through the outer side of the brains that has evolved during us being humans, and that's where we have rational thought and looking into the future and planning and all such things. So yeah, if we are capable of using that side of the brain while we are playing our little games of army men and women, then we can make those rational decisions. But we aren't robots just standing at the table calculating every move without using any emotion, because that's the middle part. The socializing emotional side. It's how and why we enjoy a game, to have the ups and the downs in the game. But once we go down from the rational planning side and we plans fail during the game, dice do not go our way, we go down to the emotional step, and once we go even farther than that, then you can end up in the fight or flight stage where you're not making those right decisions and it's not all about the game anymore, and you become unfocused and maybe even enraged and quit a game or have not such fun times, or see your opponent go through these stages and by the end of it have no fun times. And that's when the brain feeling pretend as real becomes a detriment. So we did the first steps. We are well rested, well fed, we hydrated, we got our suits laid out before us. We go gaming and we know our brain makes it real for us, even while it's pretend. We want to stay in the human side of our brain for as long as possible, making those rational and wise choices and win all our games, right? Well, the frontal cortex can be a bitch and you can be like in your lizard brain like in 2.5 seconds. Like positive or negative if you have to make a very complicated choice. If something irks you, frustrates you, scares you, stresses you out. So what becomes more important is, can you bounce back? And the answer is yes, but that means you have to deal with whatever irks you at that moment to de-escalate. So it starts off with being mindful of it, that it's a game, but your emotions can be real. That these emotions need room and a place to go. And there are healthy ways to do it. You can count to 10, maybe take some time before you plan your next action. Shake them off, or curse a little bit. Like in a funny way and in a nice haha kind of way. Not like yelling at your opponent. Because that's where we get into the unhealthy reaction. Like I've played hundreds of games of Infinity by now. I'm doing this hobby like for 15 plus years. Started out as a wargamer when I was like 14. So that's a long ass experience as a wargamer. And it's just a mathematical, statistical fact that at some point you will face a game where you have planned it all to a T, you're doing the right choices, right actions, everything as you should, but then dice just fail you completely. And then it's very important because this game, Infinity, you can stick with it and maybe have some lows, but then make a terrific comeback if you just keep your cool and keep your head in the right space. And that means dealing with the setback, dealing with the emotions, knowing that your brain makes everything real, but it's just pretend, it's just a game. And that last bit we could start it off with and not have a half hour of recording. It's just a game. And end it right there. So we ate well, we slept well, we kept ourselves hydrated, we let our suits be laid out. We know our brain composition, we know that we have to vent our frustrations and emotions healthily, that we wear down our brain to making the right choices, but we can bounce back from it if we keep a healthy expectation of the game. I.e. shit can happen, and you sometimes have to roll with the punches so you can maybe get on top in a later state of the game while losing your 3 best gun fighters. But what if it happens to your opponent? Because the goal of the game is to make the puzzle harder for your opponent than it is for you. The more choices your opponent has to make, the more chances of a mistake or a wrong choice, and the more chances that you win the game. And we strive for a good battle of wits where you try to outsmart and outthink your opponent and outmaneuver it. That's where most of the enjoyment comes from, that both sides try to do their best and at some point results come out, either win or lose. And this is where I think that the designers of Infinity made a conscious choice of not giving a just back up and go option within Infinity. You cannot just resign. There are no point deductions or automatic results when someone just gives up. That means that the designers tell you, not implicitly, that you should be able to play a game to its fullest extent, win or lose. Because, for a tournament, it's very important that we don't get only the tournament points, so if it's a major or a minor win, but also how many objective points and how many surviving points. Because that decides how scores are ended up. So someone just giving up and then you give your opponent like 10 objective points and no lost surviving points. Well, in some missions that can kind of skew the score to a larger extent than what it would be if you just played it out the full 3 rounds. While in the meanwhile, Corvus Belli tries to encourage you through game design that even if you're losing, if you score enough objective points, if you survive enough, if you make it so that you have more than 5 objective points and get close to the score that your winning opponent has, that you're still able to score tournament points and still able to rise in the rankings, and while not winning the tournament, still end up in a good position because you were at least scoring a lot of objective points and a lot of surviving points during your games. So what to do if someone wants to leave or resign? In that case, I would get the TO. Because maybe someone says they want to resign and they want to give you 10 objective points and just be done with it. That's not what you or the organizers want, because that really can skew the rankings a lot. There are a bunch of missions in Infinity that are very hard to reach those 10 objective points. So rather not. You rather want to play the game out and see what the real scores would be. But just resigning on that matter, it's pretty much a no-go in my mind. And someone leaving, that's even worse, because that means either someone has to take a bye because now you have an uneven, or you have to bring in a substitute. So it's better for someone just maybe take a few steps back and get their cool and their heads together so that they can at least be part of the tournament. Like there can always be a case that someone has to, because of an emergency, has to leave. I'm not saying that should be an issue, but just because you're in an emotional state, you can get out of that emotional state. So, and if you can't, well, maybe an Infinity tournament is not the place for you. But getting emotional can happen to the best of us. And if you have an opponent that gets into an emotional state, then it's good to recognize in what kind. Because there's the kind that someone just needs to vent, and if they have vented their frustration or took a little break, they are back on their feet. Like, oh shit, my tag has been taken down in one ARO hit by a missile launcher. Yeah, someone needs a little breather, maybe talk a little bit about it. Then for you, as its opponent, it's not your place to put salt in the wounds. It's probably best to be soft on the relation, as we say in my business, and hard on the truth. So yeah, the dice have decided your tag is dead, but you can be soft on the message and say, oh man, that sucks, and if it would happen to me, it would be a bit of a downer as well. But hey, let's see how we can go from here on. And if you need a minute, I can understand. Like, give the emotion some room. Once it's gone, you can maybe have a beverage on the end of it and talk about these epic moments from here on. Because the cinematic things that happen in Infinity, where it's a big epic win for the one, might be a big epic loss for the other. So you know where you come from, because maybe the next game or the game after that, it can happen to you. And if you empathize with each other, communicate with each other, you can roll through this. Just give your opponent some room. That's fine. But it might go a step up. Someone might complain about the rules, or the design of Infinity, or the OP-ishness of a faction. Still, in that case, if you want to de-escalate the matter, be empathetic, communicate. Yeah, sometimes the rules can be harsh. The emotions and the frustrations are now aimed at something specific, but still not at you. So just being empathetic, being soft on the social part, communicating, you can help de-escalate your opponent and still have a enjoyable game. Maybe you agree on it, with your opponent on some of the rules and you just have a laugh about it, and in that way you can still move on and have an enjoyable game. More action is needed if it's the frustration is more aimed at you as a person, and that can be either you disagreeing on a rule or disagreeing on a certain action or the end result of a situation or the measurement. Then you can acknowledge the disagreement, still be on like, hey, I disagree with you, that's all fine, let's get a TO and sort this out. And if someone vents its frustration at you, like either calling you out or calling you names, that's probably the point where you have to really put a line in the sand and say, hey, I do not like this. I don't like it when you're that frustrated with me or yell at me. We can play this game. Any disagreements on it, we can get a TO to sort it out. But I rather not be yelled at. Just draw a line in the sand, because that's the point where you just don't want to be, and you're in your rights to tell someone you disagree. Like before, the earlier steps, the frustration on a situation or the frustration with the rules, yeah, you can empathize. But if it starts being aimed at you, you have to draw a line. You have to tell them that. That's the point where you just get someone else involved, like a TO, to say, hey, this ain't cool. And hopefully your opponent sees that they've gone too far and stops and de-escalates. Or if someone can't and just wants to make it personal, then that's a reason for a TO to remove someone from the premise. From my own experience, I have to do it once during a game. It was during a game of a Song of Ice and Fire tournament where my opponent was pretty frustrated with any role, and that's where I sympathize with him. But at some point he started to tell me that anything that I did, like, I hope you fail every time. I hope you fail. Let your dice rolls fail. And then that was a moment that I had to tell him that he should stop that, because the dice can go any way, but you're telling me that I need to fail, and that's the part that I do not like. So I asked him to stop. At first his remark was like, it's just banter. I clarified myself, like, there's banter and there's just yelling at me that I need to fail. So stop that, and then we can have an enjoyable game. And luckily he did. So we had an enjoyable game. But yeah, that stuff can happen. And it's good to be wary from, hey, is someone just venting a bit? Then I can sympathize. But there's a line to cross. And that line is when it becomes personal. And be wary and guard it and bring in the TO if needed. So before I wrap this up, I want to take this from the TO's perspective as well. As, like I said in the examples, you're going to go to the organizers of this event if worst comes to worst. So yeah, then it all of a sudden becomes your responsibility, like two grown-up people just standing at the table rolling dice, and then all of a sudden someone gets mad, and what you do? Well, there's a bit of a difference between a big tournament, a satellite tournament, where people can win like full starter sets and maybe away to the Interplanetario and just your local little tournament, which you can just run on your lonesome. Because with the bigger tournaments, I would definitely go with that you have a team behind you. So that if some player acts out or has an issue with either another player or with the organizer, then you're at least got a full team behind you. So that if you all back each other up in the decisions that you make, it's harder for anyone who is trying to be a party pooper on your event to really start sabotaging the whole event with their actions. So my personal take is to make clear when you have your moments where you just talk to all the players before the whole event begins, that you make it known that you might be wrong, but you're always right. You are there to organize the whole thing and make all the final rulings, so you have the final say, and people can start fight about it, get their wikis out, but yeah, it's your decision, and they need to be cool with it, or they can leave. During the games, I think it's very important to hover around, be available as a TO for if things might arise, but also just go around the tables, show a little bit of interest, talk to the people while they're playing, like just feel how the situation is progressing, and just asking people how it's going, see what kind of actions they are taking, and just in that way you can feel if either if the situation is already a bit stressed, or if people are just having a cool time, and so that you can at least if at any table it escalates, you already had a bit of a feel of how things were going when it all popped off. And if there aren't any frustrations at that moment, my tips for players is just check where is it going. Is it either someone is frustrated at his roles, or the situation, or the corpse belly, or then it's still better to empathize, de-escalate the situation, give it some room, see if the game can progress if someone cooled their heads a bit. But if someone is just aiming their frustration at a player, or worse, at you as a TO, then it's also time to tell them that it's not appropriate. And if you get to a point where someone just doesn't want to stop, then you have to tell them their consequences, that they can either leave the event or be disqualified. And it's important to warn someone, that make it clear that, because people that are frustrated, they are in they are in their lizard brain, so they're not making the right choices at that moment. So you have to be very clear that they first need to leave their little lizard brain before they can do some right calls when they are facing a TO. So it's check if they can vent frustrations, but if they aim it at you, be clear in that they need to stop first, and also tell them if they go on, then there are consequences, and these consequences are disqualification or leaving the event. If they decide to go on, then you should disqualify them and should send them off. But if you start too soon, then someone just gets more frustrated. So you have to be clear that someone has heard you and will make a decision to either go on and be sent off, take the consequences, or back down and cool off. And then you can talk about resuming the game at hand. So that's a bit of some heavy stuff, but I thought it was worth going and podcasting about it, because it's probably, they're mostly very extreme examples that I just now give, because in my whole career as a TO, I have now done 35 plus tournaments. There's only been one time that someone was that angry that they stood up and left and stopped playing Infinity after that. Most of the time it's just a very, very fun kind of atmosphere. But it's good. I think it's good to know or be aware when it goes wrong, where it comes from, but also just when you're just a participant and you might have some tinglings or little frustrations from the event, that you at least now, after I covered this subject, that you at least know where it comes from. Maybe the next time can be ahead of it instead of being after it, from like, gosh darn it, why did I make the bad choices? Well, I say sleep well, eat well, hydrate, know that you're doing pretend, but for your brain it's real, and it's just a game. Or become a dad, become very tired, and win everything after that. So, listeners, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.